get the door and um, okay. Perfect. Welcome everyone to our 10th class, I believe. So we're starting to come towards the final stretch. Uh, not yet uh, close, but we're starting to approach the final part of the class this semester. And we have quite a bit coming over the next 4 to 5 weeks or so. So I want to make sure that we're ready for that. And today, what we're going to do is we're going to work together without a guest, but there will be an important person that we're going to focus on in terms of a case study in leadership. Today, it's all going to be about the idea of drilling down more on what exactly are critical leadership skills, the skill set that you need. So we're going to take that idea of global and then leader, and we're going to continue to go further, and hopefully I can bring you to a deeper understanding of these two critical parts of this course, global and leader, and most importantly, the leadership part. And so, as we've been doing essentially for this semester, in between classes with guests, we will continue to explore together these important qualities and skills. And today, we also have a really important thing to accomplish together. There's one thing so far among always many in this class I can say are not where I want them to be yet in terms of what I know we can do with this class, not with you, but in terms of creating this new kind of classroom that we're doing. The notes are not working very well yet. And I've been struggling with this for a couple of years now, actually, the notes. And so we have a priority today together, which is the notes that we prepare at the end have to be really good, not just for you in terms of reviewing them later, but for all the students watching online. Most of the class never attends synchronously or in person. They're watching the recordings. Um, Come in, Ryan. Okay, so we can hear you, or take a microphone. At least take a microphone, okay, so we can hear you. You can stay there. That's fine. Okay, but keep a microphone with you, and then Ryan will be the voice from off. Ryan will be the voice from off camera. Okay, somewhere, but just make sure. Okay, and then go ahead. Okay.
No, I was just gonna make a suggestion. I was gonna say maybe we could push the limits today since we have a bit of a smaller group.
Well,
Push the limits, right? So
I love pushing the limits. Sometimes I push them a little too much, but I don't want to start bringing in martial arts or fighting arts or boxing metaphors, Ryan, but I'm tempted to, um, just because I
you
have
could
to
go ahead,
show.
Lon.
What's
You
that?
could go ahead with
Okay,
them.
well, we just, we don't want to be on the ropes, when we're pushing each other back. We want to actually be, you know, um, in the ring, actually staying on our feet, something like that. Um, Last night, oh, here I go on a tangent. Let me stop for a second. Just it was funny. I'll just say last night I was at the gym. Just came out of the pool because I like to swim a lot, and other things. And there was wrestling on television in the locker room, and I am not in any way a violent person at all, but I do find wrestling hilarious. The worldwide wrestling. I mean, it is, and so I was just watching some of the antics, and as I was getting dressed, and I thought, this is just such great entertainment. But the truth is, people are shouting and screaming and putting cards up for their favorite fighters, and they're just, pounding uh, each other. But then I thought, this is good because there are women here now, and the women are fighting with the men, and it's so equal. So it's like this is definitely almost as good as Saturday Night Live, but not not quite yet. Anyways, so fighting and tenacity is maybe the word I would rather use, Ryan, than fighting. Tenacity is a critical word. So we really need to do some hard work today and be tenacious about the notes. And Maureen is here to assist us with this. Why don't you come up, okay? Because I want to also let everybody know what's officially going on with the global class. Uh, Maureen will help you with the notes, but we are really in a good place right now in what we're building with the global class. And I have some encouraging news to announce to you. A couple of things about my promise to all of you that we're going to be doing a big presentation at the World Expo, Japan in 2025. Um, First, we now have Maureen officially on board. She's been hired. She went through a whole process of interviews and competed, and she got a job as the Global Classroom's first officially paid part-time coordinator. So maybe just give her a little round. Thank you very much. Uh, Come on in, Richie. I've been working on this for and getting somebody on board for about 5 years. Tells you how long it takes in this system. There have been many students who have come, many students who have gone. One in particular I wanted to hire, Cassandra White. She was terrific. Couldn't get her. She then was hired by another department at the college. So I've I've learned over time, over the years, how to be a better political player in working inside a large institution. It was not my best strength when I was younger, and I was working as a producer and director and journalist. Sometimes I did get into needless fights with people that was immature and stupid. And as a result, I didn't really understand how to work within the system. But now I've learned about the system here and how to make sure that I can get the people and I just hang in there. And so thankfully now we have wonderful opportunity. And yesterday excuse me, we got a little note from Japan, just a short note um, from the committee there. We had sent them a plan for how to be a presence there to become the official classroom, humanities classroom for the World Expo, which means we would be there doing classes in all the different pavilions, teaching the world about all different kinds of engineering and technology with our sensational tech and our sensational format. And they sent a note back saying, "Could you just make some changes to your proposal? But, you know, we would like to see more of this." So we have them interested now. This is good. This is very good. But it does mean that we have to continue to work really hard to make sure that we meet their expectations. Essentially, what I want to say for all of you today, as we start to look at a case study or two about global leadership in a kind of positive way, is first, we've got to get the notes working. So we're going to do that at the end of the class. Okay. I'll make sure we have time. Um, but then I also want to make sure that you understand that this idea of building this classroom that we're doing at Durham College and doing it with you as part of our course is a way for you to also see experientially how we're doing something that is leading the way. I always believed when I used to play competitive hockey, I played a lot of hockey when I was younger. I was the little guy, I was the fast little guy who, you know, sometimes tried to compensate for my small size by punching above my weight, and I would get the crap kicked out of me. But I was at one or two times captain of my team. What's that? I had the spirit. I had the spirit. I was a bit of a grit grinder, but I was given a couple of times the opportunity to be captain of my team, and I learned that you have to lead by example. And so what we're doing, what Maureen and I and her sister sometimes, Medea, who's here, this wonderful combination, Maureen and Medea, M&M. It's a powerful combination, these two, intellectual and many other things, is that I'm trying to say to you, I'm trying to lead by example so that you can see an example of leadership. But today, as we look more at case studies, you are now going to have to step it up in terms of your commitment to leadership. In other words, I'm going to be asking you in your final assignment, which I've posted now in Reflection 4, to think about an initiative that you would undertake and lead, just the way right now Richie has started on his own with a documentary, a short documentary he's doing. Ryan has already started with a podcast that he's been doing, and they've written both excellent second reflections, second reflections. But I've had some comments for them, and they're willing to, and they have to be willing to take direction on how to improve. But this is the idea for all of you. Jamie, Princess Jazeel, it's Jazeel, right? Jazeel, Grayson, and then online, Barak, Burhan, Niev, and others is I'm asking you now, today, as we get into this today, to start thinking seriously about what would be the thing, what would be the initiative that you would start and try to lead if you were given the chance. And you're going to be given the chance in this class. And so I need to show you today some more case studies, people who've been leading things really well. Okay, so I'd like to let Maureen maybe give us a little update on how things are going and tell us about what she's thinking of doing as the coordinator now officially of the Global Classroom, in which she will be working with all faculty on campus, not just me and not just you, but everyone to kind of engage them and get them more interested. So yeah, go ahead, please.
So, hello, good morning, everyone. So, like Lon said, regarding the expo, we have received a little bit of an update that we have to make some edits and we send them our application for co-creation challenge. Once that's posted, we're hoping that a lot of entities from around the world kind of collaborate with us, and then we kind of make it like as big as we want it to be. And then from there, we are going to apply for something called best practices, which um, they have certain challenges that they will host in a best practices area while on the expo site. And we're like, our goal is to be a part of that as well. So we're on the track for that. But I had I was brainstorming about how we can kind of make it more productive, kind of bring more people to this than the classroom. So I thought of creating a global class club essentially, because while I was a student here, I like started a Korean cultural club, and from that experience, we like recruited a lot of members that were Korean, and we could kind of like bring them in to share their culture. Um, you can still like our Instagram page is still up, but we had a lot of events and everything. So my idea was that if we can get students who are not part of the global class or any of the classrooms any of the courses Lon has here in the classroom, I feel like there's a lot of students that don't know about the space and would like to be a part of it because we see like students like
Sure.
walking and try to look
So
and see what's
what's
going on.
this?
It's very
Yeah,
interesting to see from the outside in. So I thought that it would be a really nice idea because that way the students can kind of meet, get together. We talk about this. We form a team that Lon has already mentioned that we want to take to Japan or even locally, like leave here while we are there. So I think that this would be a really nice idea for students to kind of meet other students who are about like traveling and kind of like about the expo especially because that's our main goal for next year. And I just wanted to pitch the idea and see if any student would want to either be president or even just be part of it. The DCSA, the Students Association, has an online form. When I did it, it was paper and I had to get like 15 signatures and all of that. So I don't think they need that right now, but they need someone like a current full time student to be president and then other point of contacts. Obviously, I will be more than happy to help with this because, like I said, I've had the experience. And I know it sometimes is intimidating or, like it's a lot of work, but I was able to help, like, do it between my classes and everything. So I'm sure you should be able to. Um, I did it like because when I graduated it was COVID, so I did a lot of things virtually as well. And after since we have that option as well, so it's not that you have to be in person all the time; it can be virtual. So yeah,
No, and no pressure here to get involved, but we're providing you with options, things that you can be. What's that? Or you don't, yeah, but again, it's not essential, but it's also important to remember something about Mayreen and yourselves is her desire to get involved in things. And can I just ask you a question so students sort of understand why do you generally get involved as opposed to not get involved in things?
well, I've grown up in a country that was very diverse in the UAE, so I feel like at the time growing up with so many cultures, getting to know so many people was so interesting to me because you learn so much different perspectives, different backgrounds, different stories. And I've always been like I'm a sucker for a good story, so books, movies, whatever. So no, like for me learning languages is big, so that I can talk to people in their native language and kind of know more, because even though English is lingua franca, it's not like a lot of people still don't speak it. They're more comfortable in their native language. So why should they always like learn English? Like why don't we as English speakers like try to make them comfortable sometimes and
You're
be
curious
able to.
about different cultures and things. It leadership is also very simple in some ways. It's sort of just getting involved in the things that that you kind of love or you're interested in. And just one final question before maybe some of you might have, and then we're going to move on. Would you say that you've ever sometimes, and I'll ask you a kind of a difficult question, but you don't have to answer it in any detail if you don't want to. You ever felt lack of confidence sometimes?
Of course, a lot of times when I have to like public speak, it seems like I'm okay, but I'm actually very nervous. Like in the moment, like I'll do it, but public speaking is big for me. And then I'm questioning myself, like I'm not gonna, like make a mistake or anything. And did I say something that I wasn't supposed to say? Like that's always my afterthought after I've done it. So yeah.
Do any of you wonder why I asked you that question? The last question? Let's see, anybody online wanna I just asked Mayreen if ever she has had, a lack of confidence or felt that she couldn't do something. You can nod if you gotta come up, Brian. You come and sit here, okay? Come sit, take the microphone so we can, make sure that,
Here.
you're or at least make sure you hold the microphone, but tell me or tell us, why would I ask, and then we're gonna finally come to the 2 of you and Jamie, because I meant to tee up the replay from the end of last week, but among the too many things that I forgot to do, that was one, but that's what I promised all of you, is that today we would start the class by kind of replaying a little bit where we ended with the 2 of them last week, having a little discussion about who pays
The bill.
the bill when a woman is in front of you. And it was very interesting. So we don't have to replay too much of that, but I do want to kind of get things going a bit in terms of understanding first about why I would ask Maureen that question. Go
I
ahead.
think like one of the most obvious reasons is like, human instinct, most basic human instinct is like fear, because like we're trained to be like, well, like predators almost, so be aware of danger and stuff like that. So that's like probably the most prominent emotion in our mind, besides like just learning to be relaxed. So it's almost like the indicator in your brain that kind of lets you know, like, be aware of something or something could be wrong. Um, so it's almost like a safety mechanism, but if you don't know how to navigate that right, then it could hinder your ability to kind of awaken your full potential.
And we're talking now not just about your potential, but about the potential of the people you work with. as a leader or as someone who's in charge. So that ability to kind of calm yourself and also take chances and deal with those fears probably is going to help you be more effective.
I think another thing is too that like, at the end of the day, the only person you can be really is yourself. So like I don't know, I feel like we have that in the back of our mind that, oh yeah, we should kind of be wary about what we say. But at the end of the day, you can only be yourself and we all have our own individuality. And by kind of second guessing that, you're limiting your own potential to be yourself to the fullest extent. And like thus you might not reach um a certain level of what's the word?
The
Um,
potential,
yeah,
your potential. Okay, but remember, we want to go further now. We're talking about we, not I. Okay, and I want to remind you that in the final assignment that's coming, and the assignment sheet has been posted and everything, you are going to be really talking about the we now, the initiative that you're going to be undertaking for a collective, not just you. Okay, so that's going to be really important. Are there any questions about anything at this point before I jump into the main part of today's class? And can you maybe just stay here a little bit? And is there anything you want to add before we continue in terms of updating? You're good? Okay. Anything in the cosmos? Everybody good there? I'm assuming you can hear everything and it's clear. Uh, okay, then I want to
do we need our
start.
notes?
Is there?
Do we need our notes from last week?
Your notes? No, we're good there. Okay. Take that. We're good for now. Okay. We're gonna work on the notes soon. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna really work on it. Go ahead, Richie.
I was just going to ask, so if someone wants to be involved in the Global Leader uh, Club, how would they go about it?
Ooh, okay. Go for it. This is called networking. And if you listen to our president, remember our previous president, Don Levisa, who was here and is now no longer here? He's gone on his motorcycle. He's riding across the country with his brother. And we have a new president, Elaine Paul. Yeah. And he talked about networking and how important it was for him too. So, here we go. Good. Richie?
So I'm gonna talk to all three of Lon's classes and see who's interested, and then we make a group of students who want to be a part of the club, and maybe then we can choose a president. I mean, it doesn't really have to be president like that hierarchy, because the form says that if you want to choose a different type, because that's default, but we can choose a different type, and then basically just have everyone join in and just go from there.
There's an email too. We've got our official email now, the global class at durhamcollege.ca. So, all right. Anything else? You're good? Yeah? Okay. Um, I would like to, before we get into pairs and you work a little bit more closely on this idea of a case studies in global leadership, I want to tell you about one example of global leadership that I think is a really positive, constructive example that's going to help you to understand something about global leadership and action. And I'd like to be able to define leadership a little bit better for you. So before I begin the lecture, I'm going to give like a 15 or 20-minute lecture. I'm going to try and go quickly, a nice mini lecture, not a big one. I want to start today's topic by showing you a video of something that relates to our topic today. And then I'm going to jump into the lecture. So I'm going to put the link. Let me see if I can do this quickly on the fly. For those of you right now who are in the cosmos, here we go. I'm going to do this. And here comes a link, and it's called Fixed, the documentary. And this is a trailer for a documentary of about a minute. And in the cosmos, please go ahead and watch that minute now on your laptop, and I'm going to run it here, and then I will explain how this all connects. Okay, so Barak, Burhan, Nev, please go ahead. And for all of you, I'd like to introduce you in more detail to this idea of the Repair Cafe. But I think you need to know what this is all about. It's the repair movement in the world, and it's all about fixing the future. But let me just show you a short trailer for a documentary that was made about the Repair Cafe in Toronto, which I'm a part of. And then I'm going to introduce you to the visionary and the person behind the Repair Cafe movement in Amsterdam. And you're going to learn about how she built this movement from an idea that she simply wanted to develop. But first, let's This is just a little trailer for a short documentary that's been nominated for a whole bunch of awards, and the filmmaker is Kat Mills, and she was a young filmmaker who started to come to repair cafes and join us. But I want to tell you a little bit more about this entire movement, and I want to introduce you to somebody, another global leader. And maybe you could just go and take some notes, okay, and start, and then we'll join you in a moment, okay? Thanks. So Mayreen's going to start with the notes, and then we're going to help add to these notes. But that's our main priority today. Is once we get through understanding more about one really positive case study in global leadership, as well as what you're going to be researching on your own shortly as pairs, we're going to have some great notes for all of you to review, as well as the online students, about the idea of what exactly is really effective global leadership today. And so I want to start with a little background on a movement that began about 15 years ago in Amsterdam by this woman, and her name is Martine Postma. Martine, Martine Postma. And about 15 to 16 years ago, she felt that the world needed something that it didn't have. And it frustrated her that people were throwing things out a lot, and they were sometimes wasting money because they could have easily fixed that thing and continued the lifespan of that object. She was concerned about the amount of waste that she saw around her, and, well, she also likes to fix things. And we don't normally, traditionally, see tools and a woman. We usually see tools and a man in a lot of societies, but that's not the world we're in anymore, increasingly in the future. And for the men and males, some who come from maybe more traditional backgrounds, they must understand that our destiny, our future, has maybe more to do with the power of women than men. And this is something to celebrate, but it's also something we have to understand. It's an underlying theme always in this whole semester. Martine, for example, she decided that she wanted to start helping people repair things. And I'd like you to think for a moment of yourself. Anybody right now who's online watching the recordings here, for example, have you ever felt a need to fix something, that something was broken and that you wished you knew how to fix it and you didn't want to have to spend money, or you felt that somehow the inside, the motherboard of your computer, for example, is so complicated that it's impossible for you to really open it and fix it. It's just beyond you. Or the same with your phone, that if something happens to your phone, you take it to somebody to fix. Well, Martine's idea was that I could do it myself. And well, to cut a long story short, so that I don't spend too much time on the lecture part today, because I really want to get you into the pairs and start working together. 15 years later, this is where we are with Repair Cafe. There are something like 3,500 repair cafes around the world. There are probably about 60 or 70 of them right now in Canada alone. And this has become a serious international movement. And so I need to explain a little bit more about Martine's leadership style. How did she, in 15 years, go from a young woman who likes to fix things and realize that there wasn't a way for people to learn how to fix things, to not only an international movement with repair cafes all over the world, but just recently, there's now a repair cafe of all places in Kyiv, in Ukraine. During the war in Ukraine, people are coming together to fix things. And actually, there is now an International Repair Day in October. All of this started with her. And what I'm a part of in Toronto with my wife and others who've come together for repair cafes is part of an international movement in which there was a person not much different than you. I need to say this very clearly, okay? Leadership that I'm trying to help you with is one kind of leadership model right now. It's about not making a lot of money, okay? There are other leadership styles, and I can talk about those in future classes. The idea of a really effective leader today in terms of making a lot of money, of course, would be Elon Musk. And I think that there's a great contrast and maybe comparison that can be made between Martine and Elon, but they're very different leaders. And I would rather spend another class or two talking about what we can and can't learn and shouldn't really learn or need to learn from Elon Musk. But for now, I'm going to stick with the idea that we're living at a time right now where there's a new kind of leadership. It's called social innovation. And the idea is that the person who chooses to lead cares mostly about positive impact on society, about the collective good of society, about helping, as opposed to another model of leadership. And it's largely a Western model of leadership. Western meaning the world, we live everything sort of west of the Atlantic Ocean, Europe and the Americas. And that leadership model tends to be built on a capitalist, money-making model. But there are all sorts of other leadership models around the world that I want to help you to understand more of today. And we're going to do that together. For example, the African leadership model, the Chinese leadership model, indigenous leadership model. Those are other models too. But for now, today, I'm talking about the social innovation model of leadership. This is something I think you can maybe relate to more immediately because it's something you can start doing immediately right now with your ideas. This is what Martine did. Is she decided that she wanted to have this impact. So let me just go back a little bit and explain something about a few important points around global leadership. And then in a few minutes, we're going to start to look at this case study in more detail. The idea that I'm looking at is that you are thinking of a way to start an initiative, lead a project that is going to have impact in your community and maybe on a worldwide basis eventually. That impact will be one in which you see that the thing that you're interested in, the thing that's in your bones, the thing that you want to do, that's where it starts. The vision that you have, it starts with you, will then begin to grow if you can nurture it with the right skills and grow into something that is going to have greater impact. Last week, you saw Johanna de Boer come in and talk about the way that she has been able to, through her own resilience and her own struggles, overcome a lot and be able to start to promote the causes, bring together people that are important, use them as examples of good global leadership. And she actually sent me a slide that I was never able to really show you in detail about some of the important qualities and skill set that you need, we all need when we're leading. Martine Postma had these qualities 15 years ago when she decided in Amsterdam, in the Netherlands, to begin her first repair cafe. I just want to check and make sure that there's one key thing about leadership that has been registering with all of you so far in terms of a critical quality. What would you say, based on what I've said so far, based on what you're looking at right now behind me, and just based generally on our discussions around leadership, that would be the critical quality that you need in order to begin leading something? Let's hear and see if Ryan has it, but don't hold your Jazeel, take the microphone, okay? Good. What's the critical quality? Go ahead. What do you need?
Okay. Willpower,
Not quite.
confidence,
Think for a moment. Think for a moment, and it's staring you right in. It's right in front of you, right now.
vision.
You got it. You got it. Now, Jazeel, when I say vision, what is that?
It's like, how should I say, ability to see the objective, what's ahead of you, and what is the path that we need to lead through our people who are following us.
Would you, if I asked you right now, I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit, okay? If you were given a chance today to begin developing an idea,
Yes.
a vision, what would it be?
Mm,
You can take a few seconds. We can have the silence while Jazeel thinks. This is not easy. Imagination, human mind. What's coming? What's up here? Jazeel's mind.
a vision about helping others. So maybe
Sounds good.
changing the current status quo of the society, like the inequalities that we all face, or the double standards the people have on some other people, or men and women alike, the double standard they have to face, and the discrimination according to it, and the hypocrisies of the and changing something like that.
Good. You're starting. Excellent. This is all you need. First is time, just time to think about what you would like to fix, make better in the world, in your life, just anything that you want to make better. This is the leadership model that I'm trying to help you understand more deeply today. The model of social impact, the impact on society, not make a lot of money. That's something else. And I don't want to say that's unimportant in any way. It's just a different model. But for now, we're looking at this, okay? So, Jamie, did I see something there? Did you want to add anything? You good? Yeah. Okay, good. Yep. I want to give you a few other things to think about in terms of critical qualities of leadership. And remember, we're talking about global and we're talking about leader. The global part, in terms of global leader, is always going to be, can this idea of yours, if nurtured, if you have the tenacity to hang in there when you go through setback after setback, frustrated beyond end, you've been knocked to the canvas, you've been knocked to the floor, whether it's a fist, whether it's a leg in karate or martial arts, or whether it's just another setback in life, and you've lost your money, you've lost your partner, you're losing hope in the thing that you believed in. Will you stick with it and nurture it? And if you nurture it, could it grow into something worldwide? That's the global part. Okay. This is what Martine did, is over a period of 15 years, she began to work with people who came to her. She put on a repair cafe in Amsterdam where she had people who liked to fix things. Anybody who liked to fix things, didn't matter what, would come together in one room, and everybody who had things to fix would come and bring their things to fix, and they would sit together, and there would be coffee, and there would be pastries. And let's say a person who wanted to sew their jeans, they had many things, but they'd never really learned how to sew properly. They would sit with the sewer, and the sewer would show them how to stitch those jeans, or maybe the sewer had a machine and would work and patch those jeans properly, or maybe it was a toaster, or maybe it was a phone. And the people who wanted things fixed would sit and learn from the people who could fix things. She did that once. And she liked it. And so did the other people. And then people started to contact her. She got the word out more. This is what's happening. I've been holding this event. More people began to contact her, and she was prepared to allow others to work with her idea and develop their own repair cafes. In other words, she didn't say this. This is the Steve Jobs, Apple computer, Elon Musk model. I'm the one man who has the vision, and everybody else has to follow my vision. And if you can't, get the hell out of here. And if you follow my vision and you respect that I'm the one in charge and I know exactly what I want, I will pay you a lot of money. I can do anything I like. I can shout at you, scream at you, make you work hard. There will be no unions, no support. But boy, we're going to become very successful and we're all going to make a lot of money. But you have to follow me. That's another kind of model. Martine said, you can start your own repair cafe, but maybe you want to do it slightly differently. Maybe you want to have a repair cafe just for computers, maybe for just appliances. Maybe you don't need to be serving coffee. Maybe you can be just having it in a different setting altogether. It will be up to you, but you will get some support from me, but you will then have to, and you will organize your own, and I will always assist you with that. It's kind of what we call a distributed model. She began to inspire others to do their own thing, and gradually this began to grow. Not only that, she wasn't afraid in any way to be promoting her cause well. She was using her time to raise money when she could from any source that she could, whether it was a government source, a private source, wherever there was somebody who was willing to provide some kind of financing. She would look at it, and gradually she would use that money that she got. And listen to this. She didn't use it for herself. She put it back on the screen. It's a term we use in production. I had many years in production. When you have more money coming in, you put it back into your thing. The money isn't going into your own private account for you to get more wealthy. It's going back into your cause to make it better. And that's how something can grow. There are a few other things that have come out of her story in terms of how she's been able in 15 years to inspire an international movement with now close to 4,000, I believe. It's 3,500 to 4,000. I don't have the exact number of repair cafes around the world or how many countries there are. But in terms of what she's been able to do, she's recognized that leadership is a collective social practice. It's something that we do together. It's a collaborative practice. And there may be a person who's in charge who has the ultimate responsibility, but the person who's leading, Martine in this case, she's working with others and listening to them and collaborating with them. It's a collaborative or collective social practice. Can you write that? It's a different way of looking at leadership. The thing that you're leading has meaning to you, personal meaning. You've asked yourself the question in the formation of this idea, why it matters to me that I do this separate from profit. What am I doing with this that I love that is really going to make a difference? And how can I improve this by listening to others? What kind of team can I build? And then if I've hired well, I let them do what they're good at. I don't lead in their face with my thumb on their forehead. The critical thing when she began to build her team around her is she realized if I hire well, I've done 80% of it. If the person who has been hired for this job is the one that I want or we want, let them do their job. And if they need help, you are ready to be there in an emergency. But if that person or people that you've hired start to take your idea in a different direction, listen to them. Maybe it's okay. Maybe their ideas are better than yours, as long as they're still adhering to the values. The critical thing are the values. So Martine recognized that if people wanted to do their own repair cafes in a different way, they're still repairing, they're still fixing. Those are the values. Doesn't matter if they're doing it a little bit differently. So you have to think about that model that you are adhering to, that collaborative social model. There are two other points I want to make, and then I'm going to stop. She always had an aim, a goal. The objective in her mind was that she wanted to get more people fixing things. She wanted to reduce the amount of waste. She enjoyed fixing things, and she wanted people to begin to see that they too could be fixing and learning new skills. She had an aim that was very personal. Then she had a strategy, and then she had tactics. And here's where I want to just let this thought for a moment sit here for a moment. We talk about aim, we talk about strategy, and we talk about tactics. And we're going to come back to that as we do our little activity in a moment. There are three critical things. You have an aim. Do you have a strategy? What are your tactics? Strategy is different than tactics. Aim is different than strategy. These are three critical things you need to have in place. And she began to put those into place over time. There was one thing that she did, and Johanna talked about this last week. In anything that you do in life, and particularly that you lead, there will be problems, guaranteed. The more you try to do, the more people you're working with, the more worldwide, let's say, you want to be, the more complex it's going to get. And the more setbacks there will be. Do you remember the young New Zealand Prime Minister, Jacinda Ardern? Do you remember during the pandemic that there was this young 30-something Prime Minister of New Zealand, female? She became a global leader in part because of the way she dealt with the pandemic in her country, New Zealand, but also because of the way she had dealt with a terrible tragedy in New Zealand, where there was a young person who, racially motivated, I'm afraid we've seen this quite a lot, killed a lot of people in New Zealand in a matter of about an hour or so. And he did it with a semi-automatic weapon. There were a lot of Muslims who were killed. It was a grotesque, violent, horrific example of Islamophobia. And we see this a lot today, whether it's Islamophobia, anti-Semitism, anti-Black, so much intercultural illiteracy and ignorance. And you know what she did after this happened in her country? Unlike in the United States, where they struggle for years and years, and how many hundreds and even thousands of people have been killed in school massacres and innocently shot to death because Americans cannot even part with their semi-automatic weapons that are weapons of war. They're not small pistols. She decided that there would be a nationwide ban on automatic weapons in New Zealand. And she succeeded in getting that done in New Zealand in about 2 or 3 years. And here we see this large country, the United States, filled with so much pride and hubris, cannot part with its semi-automatic weapons that are used only in war. And meanwhile, how many more people get killed and killed and killed? You know, Jacinda Ardern, when she was elected prime minister, she had already run twice before as a member of parliament, and she was defeated. But she kept going. And eventually, she became prime minister. She's now left. She's retired from her office, and she's raising her child, and she's with her husband, just got married, and she's living her life in ways that we don't see leaders doing that much these days. She's healing. She's taking care. She's brave. She's determined. And she's committed. And she knows how to handle setbacks. She didn't stop. Martine Postma, Johanna, and others that we've had as guests, including Aftab Hussain, who will come back in a couple of weeks to tell us about his mission to change the zoning regulations and fire code and all sorts of other things that he's confronting in Bangladesh right now because of the fire there. He could talk about setbacks. I would like you to think, as we conclude this little lecture portion, of how you have handled setbacks in your life, how you have handled difficulties. Did you give up because you thought you could not do it or because nobody cared? And when you gave up, what happened to you? I'll bet you became angry or sad. You might have switched to something else. And maybe in that something else that you did, you faced another problem and another setback. And once again, you walked away from it. You didn't think you could hang in there. Hang in there. All these people who do well and lead, they have had their failures. They have been defeated, and they always come back. So let's stop, and I want you now to think for a moment about what I've just said, and then if you have any questions, please feel free, but otherwise, we're going to have a little activity, okay? And Ryan, could you come in here for a second? We're going to put you, okay? Come over here, and then Mayreen's going to help, but we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, okay? We have 6 here. We have Nev, Burhan, and Barak. So Nev, Burhan, and Barak, you are one group, okay? So Burhan, are you there? Can you hear okay?
Yeah.
Okay. You are going to be the leader of your group right now. All right? Your group is Barak and Nev. You're the Cosmos group. Okay? You good with that?
All right.
Okay, great. Okay. And we're going to have pairs going here. And what we're going to do is we're going to put Princess is going to come over with Ryan. Could you go sit with No, it's going to be a little different today. Princess, could you go over there with Ryan and Richie? Could you go with Jazeel? And Grayson, would you go with Jamie? And I'd like you to take a seat. So sit together on the same couch or close to each other, but you don't have to be in each other's faces, but you need to be fairly close because you're okay. Good. Yeah, this is good. So we have Grayson and Jamie. We have Jazeel and Richie. And we have Ryan and Princess. Mayreen is ready on the notes. And we have our Cosmos group. And there are 3 there. I'd like each pair and group to do a little research together. So you're going to have to go online, all right, to dig a little bit. I would like each of you to find one really compelling, positive example of global leadership. Anywhere. You're free to look online. And if you need to be using Wikipedia right now, that's okay. I'm not going to grill you on the sources. This is not about sources immediately. It's about interesting examples of global leadership and global leadership from a social innovation perspective, okay, that we're looking at. Did this initiative have impact worldwide? Ryan? I'll say any part of the timeline for now. We'll open this up, okay? Anything. You know, last week, Richie started with something which was excellent, and I would be absolutely happy to go there again with you, but you can find somebody else. But the activist from Kenya, who had built a park and other things, was a great example. But what's her worldwide impact? Maybe it's not quite there, but there may be reasons for that have nothing to do with how good her idea is. It just may be that the world is not listening enough to what's happening in Africa. And that's a problem with the rest of the world. This example of global leadership could be local, absolutely, in this community, but there has to be bigger impact happening. The worldwide impact doesn't need to be around the whole world. It just needs to have greater impact. Something about this idea is resonating with people. beyond the local community. Okay? You ready to find it? And then I have a little prize today. We're going to vote. And I hope this is, everybody is going to get a little something at the end, which is a fixed button. Fixed. This is what's handed out at all repair cafes. Fixed. But this is chocolate. Now, it is my experience that there's not a single person in the classroom who ever dislikes chocolate. So the winning pair or the winning group will get this chocolate sort of, if you want it, it's a chocolate dog of some sort that's been sitting at home since Christmas. And if you don't want it, I will take it back and eat it with my wife. But if you would like chocolate, then find a good example. And if we decide it's the best one, then you get to take some chocolate back today, okay? Otherwise, that's coming back home with me. And we'll be eaten, I promise. Okay, so this pair, and Burhan, Burhak, and Nev, I'll give you 10 minutes to either in a conversation or through your research, one really good example of global leadership as the way we've defined it today. Please go ahead. What's that? 10 minutes. Okay? And in the meantime, I'm going to put something up here to help with a little bit. Hopefully this will work. And then we're going to do our notes. Great. Okay, so Barak and Burhan, are you tell me in the live chat, are you clear on the instructions? Barak, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here, Professor.
Okay, good. Let's make sure you can hear me. Barak, can you unmute your microphone?
Okay.
Let's see, but are you okay, great. Where is hold on. Let's Hi, Joy. Can you hear me? Okay, no. Okay, great. Good. I'm just gonna put a link in here, the video that we're watching right now, and I'll explain it. Burak, Burhan, Nev, can you just
Yeah, I
say
can hear you.
yes? You can hear me in the live
Yes, I
chat
can hear you.
because I'm
Can you hear me?
our Cosmos is a little quiet this morning. Okay, good, Burak. So, do you know what? Good, thanks, Nev. Excellent. Do you know what I've asked you to do?
Yeah, we're going to give an example
Are you
of a
clear on
global
what I've asked you
leader.
to do as a group?
Well, we were talking about it with Burhan. We don't know how to make a group, like a group chat within the Toria.
Live chat responses are coming in very slow, so I'm not sure if you're hearing. I can hear you, and Burak, are you clear on what I've asked you to do as a group?
Yeah, can you hear me?
You are clear?
Yeah, I'm clear.
So are you working on this now as a group? You,
Well, we were talking about it. We don't know how to form a group
um,
within the Toria, like a text group.
hold on, I'm gonna just, stop this for a second. Sorry, go ahead, Barak. Can you just
Uh,
speak again?
we don't know how to like form a group within the Toria, like a text group, so we can talk
Yeah,
with each other.
exactly. You can do it in text. Yes,
So we
when
can
to
only
stop the
text
breakout.
one people at
Wait,
a time. That's the problem.
I don't know how to. I can try to do the breakout room on the fly right now. Hold on a second, okay? Let me try and do this for you, okay? I'm gonna create a breakout room and see if I can. Okay, here we go. So add a breakout room, and then I guess it would be breakout room. Hold on, main room, breakout room. Okay. Uh, yeah. Okay. So I'm messing everything up. Do you want to come for a second here? I think I might have done just a second. I've got okay. No, keep the live stream going, and then it's up here. I think. Okay. Uh, okay. Okay. So, is there?
What happens if you click on the three? There's no
This
option
one?
here on Barak. What does it say? On the three dots. Breakout room 2.
Breakout room 2.
And they're gone there. So there's 3 people there.
Okay.
Is that what it says? Yeah.
Breakout room 1. There's 3 people in there.
Yeah, and then breakout room 2, Barak's in there.
Okay, we'll put him in breakout room 1. We'll put him back in breakout room 1.
Okay, I think he's in there.
Oh, great. Okay, good, good. Okay, so it's working. Excellent. Okay, and then, yeah. So we've got the breakout rooms going, and then we've lost this, but let me just see in the live chat. Okay, so, okay. I'll see what happens when I close the. I've never used this before.
If you go into breakout room and you put join, then you can go into the
Yeah. Okay. Hi, Joy. I think you're back in the main room. I'm moving things around. How you doing? Okay, well. All right, 2 more minutes. And then okay, 2 more minutes. Okay. 2 more minutes. Then we will take it up together. Please feel free to put your examples in the live chat here. Okay, good. A little complicated today, but okay, almost there. And then get ready. We're really gonna get going on the notes, and we'll do it together. So, okay. Okay, you can go first. Hey, 1 minute. Okay. Okay, we're gonna start to take this up, and I'll close the breakout room. Let me, breakout room, let's see, and we'll yes? Okay. Let's see. I think I'll put them back into the main room, I think. Right, yeah, because probably put them all back into the this looks like close it. They all go back? Yeah, great, okay, good. Okay, so you're all back in the main room. I've just taken you thanks, Barak, Burhan, and Nev. Burhan, are you ready to provide your examples? We're going to start here shortly, but do you have an example? A good example of global
Yes.
leadership. Great, okay.
Nev actually proposed that we spoke about the Martin Luther King, which is the one of the best examples in this case, probably.
Okay, hold that for a second, okay? We're going to start over here with Princess and Ryan. We're going to go in person first, and then we'll come to the Cosmos. But it's good. Everything's working right now. And let me just bring something back here. Good. So we have everybody. We have Martine up there. Good. Princess got a microphone. Now, we need to make sure that the notes are done properly. So what I would like to do right now is I'm going to steal one person from each group to go work with Mayreen, because there's going to be a group around the notes to make sure we really get these right. So in terms of who speaks, you both are equally capable and confident. I guess we could just flip a coin because one of you is going to go over there to help with the notes. Okay, let's start with. We'll make this up as we go along. I'll figure it out. Okay, but we have to get some good notes, and we have to get you over there on the notes with Mayreen. But leave it with me. I'm going to be leader, thinking on my toes right now. Okay, on how we're going to make that happen. You can. Yeah, go ahead. And is there a microphone? Take a microphone. There are 3. Okay, good. So Princess and Mayreen are going to be together on the notes. Ryan's going to speak here, and we're going to start. Okay, great. And let me just so I am really on top of things here. Watch what I'm going to do here. I got it. Let's get over here. Hold on. Bring that over. I want to see you guys. And so there we go. Okay, good. Now, and is the microphone on?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And I'll make sure. So, Princess, please begin and then be ready for some note taking at the same time, and we'll come back to Ryan as well. Okay, so go ahead.
Okay, so Ryan and I were talking, and we were talking about 2 very historical people from 2 very different countries. So I want to first talk about Queen Moremi.
Queen.
Moremi.
Okay, we're going to have to get the spelling right too. So everything is okay. So we'll go slowly for the moment, but the notes are really so Queen. Okay.
Okay, so we're talking about how a leader has to be able to have good strategy and tactics. Let me just summarize in like 2 minutes. So Queen Moremi was the first queen of Ile-Ife in Nigeria.
The first
queen.
The first queen. Okay.
Yeah, of Ile-Ife in Nigeria, which is one of the largest kingdoms that existed. So her people were at war, and she was the last queen, and she was the favorite. And at that time, women were not allowed to partake in any form of political or serious business,
Yeah,
basically. So since she knew she won't be allowed to, she disguised as one of the slaves that were taken from her land, and she went to the other land and seduced the king,
Yes, yes.
and she made the whole court juice and put like sleeping herbs inside, and they all slept off. So she organized with the other female slaves and killed all of them while they slept. So that's how they won the war. So and because of just that singular act, it's not mostly talked about, but because of her coming out as a woman and being like, okay, I need to save my people.
Yes.
I also forgot to add, before she did this, she consulted their gods, and she had to give her child as a human sacrifice so she'll be successful.
Wow.
So seeing her leadership skills, and first of all the bravery, the strategy, and the fact that she puts her people's needs in front of her own, it till now it's still like it has influenced some trends in Nigeria,
Yes.
like with women empowerment and things like that. So yeah, we're relating that to Alexander the Great. So that's where I am.
Okay, so we'll start with Queen Moremi. Moremi. Queen Moremi. Okay, let's bring it back to Ryan, and let me just make sure I've got this here properly. So Ryan, go ahead.
I'm gonna say my like initial I guess questioning when she brought up this political figure, but I think I started to see the kind of appeal in the way she kind of attacked those issues that were kind of standing in the way of her nation being like kind of free in a sense.
Yes.
And I do agree that there a great leader does need to take sacrifices in something, and I think that sometimes that sacrifices the price we need to pay for change. So, and I think that those 2 leaders, Alexander and her, kind of illustrated that quality because they were both concerned with kind of protecting their nation.
Okay.
And doing that from kind of a state of power because she was before a princess, right? And typically we see, it relating back to this idea of, who pays the bill kind of thing about, women. Princesses typically depicted as somebody up in a castle, doesn't have that much power, kind of damsel in distress kind of figure.
Mhm.
And here we see somebody reversing that and kind of saying, okay, let's take the fight to them instead. Let me kind of, stand up here with my sword
Ooh.
and take the battle to them.
Let's take the fight to them.
Yeah, and she.
Ooh, that's a nice line.
and
Let's take the fight to them.
And the thing I liked about the way that she did it is that she didn't necessarily try to, beat the man at his own game to say, because, typically we think
Yeah.
of, men as, just being kind of a blunt instrument, like, almost
Yes.
a hammer.
Yeah, yeah,
Just,
yeah.
I don't know, very direct approach.
The male is a blunt instrument, even if it's just a tiny nail. We'll take the huge hammer. We don't realize it. It's
Take the scalpel.
yeah. It's a great. She also recognized that she had her own way of doing it, and she didn't try to use the other way, the male way. It's a great point, Ryan.
I think that
Yeah.
it's kind of very interesting how she kind of utilized that almost intuition that women have about like kind of almost seeing things, as we talked about, from more of an outside view, because I think women are particularly good at that in some situations if they can stay calm enough to be able to observe that.
Sure.
But she was able to do that, and she was able to strategize things in a way that would ultimately lead to, the freedom of her nation and the expansion of her empire. And I brought up Alexander initially because I thought he was somebody who did this very effectively as a leader. He conquered lots of lands. He, built great libraries, the greatest libraries in history. He reinvented cultures almost in a way where, when in Egypt, almost
Yeah.
like he almost became like very connected to the culture and the spirituality of that culture, and realized that there was some deeper connection there.
Okay, well, let me stop. Let me stop for a second because I want to make sure you all have a chance, as well as the Cosmos too, and critically, that these notes are going to be more detailed and helpful. So we've started this. This is great, and we'll use this model for the next group. Maybe one of you goes there at some point, but we'll see. Okay, so we're going to go over here now to Richie and Jazeel. Then we're going to come to Jamie and Grayson, and then we're going to come to the Cosmos finally. And we want to see what the examples are. Okay, so good. Ryan's going to help Mayreen right now on the notes. And please tell us, and you don't need to go over there for now. You can stay there, and Ryan will stay with her. And just, you can tell us as you would like. What is your choice?
We chose the modern day as a prime example. We took two people, Sean Spieler and Paul Till, the founders of Clean the World organization.
Okay, we're on to group 2, okay? We'll start a group, Ryan, we're going to start a group 2 slide. Why don't you go over now and actually help Mayreen, okay? Jazeel, that's good. I'm sorry, I'm kind of making this up as we go, but I'm trying something new today. So that will work. And Richie, you have a microphone. We'll get Richie. Can you give Richie the microphone as you?
Yeah.
Good. And the two of you, okay, great. So either Jazeel or Richie, you continue. Go and help Mayreen with the notes, okay, Jazeel? Yeah. Or Richie, go. Keep going. All right.
They started their operations in 2009 as a simple in Orlando as as in one factory, as they collect the wasted soap, thrown out soaps from the hotels. And how should I say? Now, after 3 years, now they have expanded their operations internationally and expanded throughout Asia and other impoverished area. They have their operations in 127 countries, with giving over 49 million tons of soap.
Wow. Okay. So this is good. And how long have they been doing this for? Were you able to find that out at all? Do you know?
They started their operation in 2009 and they are still going strong today. They have their recent expansion has started in to 2014 in Asia.
Okay.
They do have operations everywhere else too. And one of the fact is that now the hotels also started participating, as they are not buying from the hotels, but rather the hotels are starting to donate. One of the major contributors, Hilton Hotel.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Hilton Hotel.
Yeah.
Good.
Now they have collaborated with Hilton Hotel.
Great. Okay. So this is the two examples or the two people with this, or is it just one
No,
person?
these are co-founders.
Okay. The co-founders would be
Sean Spieler.
Sean. Yeah. Let's get the names down. Okay. Sean and Paul Till. Is it?
Yes, Sean and Paul Till.
All right. Let's go over to Richie for a second. Thanks, Jazeel. That's great. And feel free to join them if you would like over with the notes, or you can stay here. Either way, okay? You're fine there. Okay. Go. Is there anything you want to add, Richie, in terms of the notes as Maureen gets them down?
Yeah. So, there's lots of examples of good leadership, especially in history, especially in the political scene. But this is an example of how just two citizens, taking an initiative in their local environment, and it's causing a really good impact because we all know how much waste comes out of the hotel industry.
Yes. Yes.
And right now we're in the season of sustainability. We're looking for sustainable solutions to the environment, and this is one good example of something that's working.
What- Let me ask you, if we were to look at strategy and tactics for a moment, okay? And because the strategy and the aim are similar. So we're just going to break it down for a moment to strategy and tactics. What do you think is the strategy that Paul and Sean have? And what might be one of their tactical challenges in meeting their strategic objectives? So you don't need to research this, Richie. Just think about what you think their strategy might be as an organization.
So the strategy, I would say um, if I were in their shoes,
Yes.
I would be seeking. I'll be marketing myself as a clean solution to waste,
Yes.
essentially. So a new way to recycle. Yeah, I think that's a strategy. That's how I would market my organization.
Yes.
Yeah, and the tactics.
Tactical challenge. Because tactics are the situations that you face along the way to
Yes.
achieve your strategic objectives. Okay. So what might be a tactical challenge they might have faced?
I would say a tactical challenge has to be the logistics of the whole operation. You have to find discarded soap from individual hotel rooms. That's not easy. You have to collaborate with
Many different people.
many different
Yeah,
people,
yeah, sure.
including
Excellent.
the cleaning services, the hotel managers. You also have to find a way to distribute those bars of soap, and we all know how heavy soap can be. It's not a
Good. Yeah.
it's a logistical challenge.
So tactics come down to the sort of the day-to-day challenges that you face and how you're going to deal with them. And sometimes we say today was a tactical defeat, but it doesn't mean a strategic defeat. It just means that you faced defeat with the tactics. Okay, so strategy is the big picture, tactics is the day-to-day challenges. Let me just stop you for a sec. I want to give Jamie and Grayson a chance, and then for online, we're going to pick this up next week with the three of you in our review next week, because we will be back next week as well without a guest as we're preparing. But hold on for a second to all of that in the cosmos. That's great. Richie and Jazeel, we've got that slide going with the group Clean the World, and we've got some detailed notes. Finally, we're going to end with Jamie and Grayson, and we'll follow the same format for now. And that is, you can tell us from here, and then at some point, we're going to move you over there to work on the notes together. Okay. So let me bring the camera back here and go ahead, Jamie.
So we picked someone who didn't have an initiative like for for recycling or whatnot. He's a bit of a personal hero for myself. His name is Romeo Dallaire.
Ooh, great example. Yeah. Romeo Dallaire. We'll get the spelling correct for you soon, okay? But yeah, go ahead.
Dallaire.
think it's-
Aire.
Yeah, Dallaire. I think it's that too. I'm not, but it's French. It's from Quebec.
Yeah.
Yes. General Romeo Dallaire.
Lieutenant General
Yeah.
Romeo Dallaire. So in 1994, you may have heard Rwanda genocide was going on. It's probably one of the most horrific events that happened. 800,000 people were brutally murdered over a period of 3 months.
Yeah.
And he was the leader of the UN assistance team.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, he was unable to really do anything because his hands were tied by his superiors. He was forced to sit by idly and watch as these brutal killings took place.
Canadian general who was in command of the UN project at a time of unspeakable genocide that took place between these tribal peoples. Yeah, Rwanda. And go ahead. Yeah.
But through persistence, one of the leadership qualities that they speak of, just continually asking for help, for authority of some sort. He did eventually get it, but it was too late. It's actually kind of sad talking about it.
Do you want to, Grayson? Do you want to go over and give well, because I can help you, and because there's another part of the story that's very powerful too in terms of his life and what he
so
was
much
able to.
In the end, he became a great humanitarian. He's fought for against the use of child soldiers in war. He's trained different militaries, different countries,
And
sort of how not to fight against them or how to.
but here's one thing that is so important that relates to what we've been discussing today. Sorry to interrupt. I just want to make sure we get this point, and I'm watching the clock too, and I'm always trying to bring it back to what we've been discussing and the guests we've had. We've talked a lot about resilience. We've talked about getting knocked down. We've talked about setbacks and frustration as being part of leadership. Well, Romeo Dallaire, when he came back to Canada, suffered mentally greatly from depression, and he's been very open about this. And I think it took tremendous courage to be from a place, the military, where this kind of thing is generally not discussed so openly. And he did, and he's become
Advocate.
and he's become an important advocate.
Veterans, PTSD.
Absolutely. So it's an excellent example, and you know, I don't want you to be uncomfortable getting upset, but at the same time, the students should know that he is. The cameras on them right now because it shows how deeply he's impacted you.
There's a movie that they did about it. It's called Shaking Hands with the Devil.
Yeah. The documentary.
Did a very good job of it.
Yes, Shaking Hands with the Devil. I'd like to conclude right now because we're reaching the end of the class today, and there's some things that we haven't yet done, but we will do that next week. I promise. First, Barak, can you make sure that you are ready at the start of next week's class to present your example to all of us? I see Burhan has left, but please be ready at the start of next week's class. Okay.
Oh, okay. Just to inform you, it was not my idea. It was Lev and then Nev's. So credit to
Yeah, it
her.
was my
Okay,
idea.
great. And if there's anything else that you want to make sure you remember for next week, put it right now in the live chat, both of you, because I'm going to save the notes. I'm going to save the live chat, and that too is a good
Oh,
record.
I put something in the notes. I didn't know if you've seen it, but if you could save that, that'd be
It's
appreciated.
in the. Is it in the live chat? Yeah, I see
It
it.
is, yes.
Great. Okay, so that will
Thank
be
you.
saved. So let me just also say, in terms of the notes that we have today, that I'm going to also review these at the start of next week's class too. I was hoping to review them at the end of today's class, but I just want to make sure that we stick to our time as well. Please keep in mind that there are really important stories that you've heard today that are real, that are relevant, and that speak to something that you too can be adopting in terms of how you look at your own initiatives that you may start to think about leading, and particularly for your final assignment. I'm going to wait until next week for voting. For this chocolate has stayed, fine for 3 months. I think since Christmas, it will be fine for another week. But for everybody, before you go, at least you need to have a button. Okay, so because this is what leaders do, is they fix things. They're problem solvers. And so that's the kind of leadership that we're all interested in. This comes from Repair Cafe. We can thank Martine for all of this, for having inspired this movement. Grayson and Ryan, you ready? Okay, sorry. I'll get Mayrina Mediha later with these, okay? And for Burak and Nev, I'll save you yours, which I will give you eventually. Any questions as we conclude today in drilling down a bit on case studies of good examples of positive leadership in social innovation? That's what we've looked at today. And the qualities that are important for ensuring that you too could be taking on these kinds of leadership initiatives. Any questions? Anything? You good? Barack? Okay. See you all next week, and you know where to reach me via email. We need to have a quick chat, right? Okay, good. Great. Okay, and I'm going to shut my microphone. Can you save those notes, Maureen, please? And today I'm going to do it just right. I'm not going to lose the live chat. All I'm going to
Hello, Professor. Are you here?
Ajoy, can you hear me?
Hey, Professor. Hey,
Yeah.
how is going on? Yeah.
Yeah, give me a second, okay? I just have a quick chat I'm
Okay.
having with Richie here, and then
Okay.
I'll come to you, okay? I'm gonna
Okay.
mute my mic.
Okay.
Great.
Okay.
Okay, so Ajoy, yeah, go ahead. If you want to talk privately, we can talk on WhatsApp tomorrow, or we can talk
Mm-hmm.
now. I've got a few minutes. So is there anything you want to talk about right now?
Well, I will catch you in privately tomorrow.
You want to, we can talk privately
Yep.
tomorrow on WhatsApp. I wanted to update you as well on Jesse from
Mhm.
Toria
Mhm.
and what's been happening there, because there's been some
Mhm.
complication in terms of
Okay.
him coming as a guest. But I can update you on other things as well. Okay.
Well, yeah. Then catch you tomorrow.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Talk tomorrow. Okay. That's good.